Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, could not be in deeper hot water than she is right now. While Chief Judge Boasberg considers whether to find her in criminal contempt and refer her for prosecution, not by the Department of Justice, but by a specially appointed prosecutor that he appoints for her having given the command to allow 200 people to be sent over court order to El Salvador to be tortured. At the same time, she appears in front of Congress, in front of Benny Thompson, to be questioned today. And the seat got so hot that Benny Thompson at one point said, I may refer what's going on here. You're not answering my question. A simple yes or no question about who granted the asylum to the National Guard shooter. The answer to that is Trump. She wouldn't respond to that. He said, I may refer you for perjury charges. You've got Kristi Noem being referred for perjury charges on the same week that Judge Boasberg is seriously considering, after an evidentiary hearing, recommending her for criminal prosecution. And Kristi Noem just decided at some point she'd rather be someplace else, and just got up and left the congressional hearing. I'm Michael Popok. You're here on Thursday on Legal AF. Take a minute, hit the free subscribe button, and make sure we get to 1 million before 2026. With your help, we will. Kristi Noem, look, we know she was obscenely unqualified when Donald Trump appointed her to be the Homeland Security Secretary. Now she's appearing in Congress. She's got to answer hard questions. This is the problem. They don't want to answer hard questions. They all want to take a page out of Pam Bondi, the Attorney General's failed book, with her smirks and her looks and her disdain and her sarcasm, and try to sarcasm and side-eye glance her way through questioning, hard questioning by senators and congresspeople. Patel tried to do the same thing. And when Kristi Noem tried to play out of that playbook, Congress people were ready for it. And Benny Thompson asked a very simple question, because the Trump administration has spent a considerable amount of time telling the American people that Joe Biden is to blame for what Ramanullah Lakhanwal did in shooting 2 National Guards people in D.C. and killing one of them. Now, when that happened, and it turned out he was in this country from Afghanistan and had been granted asylum. We heard about the asylum early on the Midas Touch Legal AF side. We said CIA. We said military. If he got an asylum that quickly, he must have been cooperating with the armed forces and working with the CIA. It turns out that's exactly what happened. He worked for the military in the United States. He worked for the CIA. And they brought him and relocated him to Washington State and gave him asylum. And the asylum was granted by the Trump administration. So an inconvenient fact that Kristi Noem didn't want to answer. And then Benny Thompson, Congressman Thompson, used the P word. Let's play the clip.
NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with National Guardsmen being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
it was a terrorist attack.
Wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can
He shot our National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question? It was an unfortunate situation, but you blamed it solely on Joe Biden. I want you to know who approved the asylum application for this same person.
Mr. Thompson, this individual that came into the country.
No, I want to know who approved.
Congressman Thompson, I want you to understand. When this individual came into the country, he came under evacuation of Afghanistan under Operation Allies Welcome, was thoroughly vetted by the Biden administration at that point in time, allowed into our country, and then was never followed up. I want to remind everybody in Congress.
Reclaim my time.
We follow the law. And every asylum is supposed to have a check-in every single year, and the Biden administration failed to do that. They vetted this individual, allowed them into our country, and did not do due diligence.
Witness will allow the gentleman to ask his question.
Yes or no? Who approved the asylum claim?
The application on the asylum was thoroughly filled out by information that was gathered by the Biden administration.
So the Biden administration approved the asylum.
The asylum application was put into place under the rules established by the Biden administration.
Reclaiming my time. I don't want to file perjury charges against you, but I'm of the opinion that the Trump administration, DHS, your DHS, approved the asylum application.
The asylum application moved forward under all of the information and vetting processes that were put in place under the Biden administration, which is when vetting happened. And that's what President Trump has changed. Under President Trump's administration.
My time again.
When
it's obvious you don't want to answer the question. Mr. Kent, you want a shot at it?
Now, things got worse for her as the day went on. And so at one point, Kristi Noem conveniently remembered she had another meeting to get to. I thought I was watching like Godfather 2 during the hearing, the Senate hearing, when Senator Geary suddenly stood up and remembered he had another appointment to be at and gave a speech about how Italian Americans are the lifeblood of democracy in America. And then he left the room. You know, suddenly she had a meeting. It turns out that the meeting was a phony. It was like a child that didn't want to take an exam, a test. So called in or hit the fire alarm or called in a bomb scare. You know, I've got to wait on a refrigerator back at my house. I got to go. It was like Spinal Tap. I got to go wait for a bus and got up and left. You don't believe me? Here's a clip.
I'm just going to take the position that she was scared of my questions. Mr. Chairman, if we could stop the clock and wait until after all this.
Clerk will suspend.
If we could reset the time, that would be helpful.
We'll reset the clock. Gentlelady, prepared.
Okay. Thank you.
Gentlelady's recognized.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now, against that backdrop, we've got what's going on with Judge Boasberg. And it's heating up. And I want to give an update to it right here. Jeb Boasberg, Chief Judge of the D.C. Circuit Court, Federal. He's holding a hearing on the 15th of December. He's holding live witness cross-examination that he will be leading starting on the 12th, including of a whistleblower, Erez Ruveni, for the Department of Justice. He wants to hear from Drew Ensign, a lawyer for the Department of Justice, about why his order on the night of, or the afternoon, late afternoon, evening of March 15th was violated by the Department of Justice and by the Trump administration. He ordered the planes to be grounded, that the 250 or more people not named Abrego Garcia that were sent in the middle of the night or attempted to, without due process, to the torture prison of Sicat in El Salvador, that they be returned to federal jurisdiction so he could hold a hearing on a temporary restraining order. And yet the planes continued to fly. Was it on recommendations of attorneys? That doesn't help. You know, well, I took the advice of my counsel. You know, so they're trying to rely on advice of counsel defense. But we'll have to get to the bottom of what the advice was and why the advice was given to violate a judge's orders and continue to fly those planes under the Alien Enemies Act. And that's what he's getting to the bottom of. Now, the Trump administration doesn't want him to hold a hearing at all. They're like, where is this going? You've already found probable cause for criminal contempt. Make the referral to the Department of Justice. They're the only entity that can prosecute. Not so fast. Case law tells us that when a Department of Justice is so ethically conflicted that they're not going to effectively investigate themselves, a judge gets to appoint a special counsel who's independent to do it for them. And that's where we're heading. Because Judge Boasberg has not given up yet. He said, at the moment, I cannot determine whether, not if, whether there is a criminal contempt and somebody needs to go to jail. But that's what he's getting to the bottom of. And Trump already threw Kristi Noem under the bus because the judge wanted to know in a prior filing who in the administration, what live human being gave the order to violate my order. And they wrote back, Kristi Noem. Okay, so there you have it. So now, she of much cosmetic surgery and Botox and hair extensions. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at pictures of her from 5 years ago or 8 years ago. In fact, we'll put a couple up on the screen. She of much work is going to have to pay she has to answer the questions. You know what? You want to be in the big boy, big girl chair? Put on your big boy, big girl pants. You're going to have to sit in the hot seat and be grilled. This isn't kindergarten. This is federal officers sworn to uphold the Constitution. This is checks and balance of Congress being able to ask hard questions. And you don't stand up and say, I've got a very important meeting I've got to attend. And it turns out the meeting's been canceled and you knew it. So we're going to continue to follow as Kristi Noem circles the drain, we will be there to follow her all the way down. And I'll continue to do it for you here on Legal AF. Take a minute. No paywall, no outside investors. Hit the free subscribe button. Help us get to 1 million subscribers. We're so close. We're achingly close. Go check to see if you are a subscriber. I'm going to try to think about, my last push. If you can be the 1 millionth subscriber, I'm going to think of something fun, something personal and fun that I'll provide. But help us get there. All right. So in the meantime, Legal AF Substack, those are the ways to support the Legal AF community. Help to get us as big and robust and muscular as we can before we turn into 2026. Till my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.